A very good evening to one and all. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're all safe and healthy. This is Madhav Agarwal, your candidate for the presidential elections. So, today we'll be talking about and addressing several questions that you guys might have regarding the issues that were released last week, right? We have tried to address some common points that the issues regarding the issues that the students have faced, and also proposed our innovations for improving general college life and campus image as well, right? So, feel free to ask me any question that you guys might have. Till now, we've proposed 6 plans, starting off with the back to college plan. Uh, so it's a plan to bring back all of you to the campus, right? Looking at the recent pandemic situation, and followed up with that is our plan to regarding social welfare and estate maintenance regarding the buildings in our college, improving general standards, and also nurturing entrepreneurship. That is one key point that we're focusing on in our campaign. And we've also suggested the NITT Pay app, which will integrate all payments on campus onto a common platform, thereby ensuring that there's a centralized ledger, a new innovative mess system, and also refund system, so that you can maximize and capitalize on the dues and cash that you have in hand. So yes, please feel free to post any questions that you might have. So one very common question that was asked to me when I released the Back to College plan was that currently vaccinations are not available for uh, people above the age of 18. It's only available for people above the age of 45. So what happens in the case that vaccinations are not made available to students? So regarding that, I would like to tell you that um, the government of India is in advanced stages, right, in negotiations with Sputnik, the Russian vaccine, and also the Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech have assured that the vaccine capacity will be doubled. This is also in light of the notice that was sent by the Ministry of Education to the Ministry of Health and Welfare, saying that all students, all members of CFTI, centrally funded technical institutions, should be vaccinated, right? So we expect that by the month of July, we would be able to offer vaccinations. But in any case, we are prepared for a scenario where students are not vaccinated. We have made the plan accordingly. So talking about my plans, um, the first one was a social welfare plan after the Back to College initiative, and that majorly spoke about basically initiatives which would improve our social life, right? Uh, whether it be memberships for students requiring pool access, handling the current issues on campus, such as snake problem, or replacing water dispensers, installing them at the right positions. Also, a hostel representative committee, which was one of the major points, so that we can directly pass on issues, hostel-related issues, to the Students' Council, and that they can also take responsibility for it. So those were some of the issues that I spoke about. After that was the estate maintenance post that I released, in which I spoke about maintenance of all official buildings and making sure that clubs get adequate rooms in the college, because that is an issue which was raised by many clubs, a lack of rooms to work in. And also improving safety and security will be one of the major issues. Keeping in mind the COVID and the pandemic situation, we'll be ensuring that washrooms are regularly cleaned, there is proper cleaning in all the hostels. Also that there is a major flaw in the CCTV systems which are currently maintained by the CSG. Um, we want to set up a control room also with the security office so that they can track and monitor the CCTVs live during the day, ensuring security. For which I also received a lot of support from Dr. Ganesh Murugan, who is in the security office. These issues of these issues that we're going to address are also in light of the fact that our campus is an open campus and we want to offer as much security as possible. There are a couple of other plans, such as converting, which is a long-term proposal, converting all the lights inside our hostels to LEDs in order to save a lot of resources, um, and also making life easier by setting up a e-Vahan stand or encouraging e-Vahans to stand near Zircon and Aquamarine and Amber, hostels which are really far, and especially Opal, so that they can reach their classes on time during the mornings and the afternoons, and back to their hostels in the afternoons. So, based on conversations I've had with the people, also got to know that there is, and it's a problem that I have looked at as well. There is a lack of infrastructure for interacting and communicating in the college, a community center of sorts. So that is something that I have proposed, obviously a long-term proposal, but definitely a need of the hour, considering that we want people to communicate, sit together for projects, do them together with their teams, and interact as much as possible. Carrying on from there was my entrepreneurship plan, and for which we spoke to the director of SEDI and also to ECEL and IT Trichy. And we got to know the main reasons why we haven't been able to develop our startup culture as much as we would have expected, and for which we have proposed a couple of plans. And one of the major points over there is that we need a premier entrepreneurship body which would be with the support of both SEDI and ECEL, right? We want to encourage both of them to participate, regarding which we have spoken to both the authorities as well. And to support this fact, we will also be talking to VCs. We encouraged ESL to talk to VCs, which they're already doing, and prepare a database for venture capitalists to come to the college. And one of the major points that we suggested over here was a license of startup. And what we mean by that is a plan of action for startups and students who take up, like, start up an organization while they're in college. So regarding that, we proposed a system where if you are a startup and you will be monitored by someone in our campus, based on which, if your performance is good, you'll be eligible for that license of startup, in which case you will get several benefits, including access to rooms and facilities, and also other benefits like a 50% academic attendance criteria, for which we've also spoken to the director of SEDI. And with that, there'll also be a benefit of deferred placements, a topic which has been debated for quite a lot of years in our college. This is something that's being done in a lot of colleges across the country, and this is something that we should definitely introduce to improve our startup culture. Deferred placements basically means that you delay your placement process by a year. You decide to sit a year later, and in that year which you get, you pursue your startup and your dreams. This is a safety net for you to fall back upon in case things don't go well. So this is something that we want to offer to our students to encourage them to take up startups. And the final plan, the pre-final plan that we released was regarding the academic reforms in our college which need to take place. So one of the major points over there was a 40-minute class instead of a 50-minute class, because as the students of NITT know that during class hours, the 10 minutes in between classes are hardly ever felt. So we wanted to make sure that students get that respite in between class hours, allowing them to refresh and take a breath before they continue with their next class. And also we spoke to Dean Academic Sir regarding this, and he told us the plan that he is making, which basically talks about an entire 52-week plan, um, in consisting of a detailed list of events that will carry on, including 18 weeks of complete engagement with the students in terms of academics. And we proposed a system to that, saying that CCM meetings should be carried before the release of the course plan in order to focus and fix our assessments and assignment schedules, so that we do not burden ourselves in a peak time of a year, suppose during any of the fests, right? Because we want to make sure that students can completely focus on their academic activities as well. And along with that, we proposed the UGTA model, which is something that we're looking forward to. We've sent the proposal to Dean Academic as well regarding this. And I feel that it's a very revolutionary thing if it can be introduced in our college. Undergraduate teaching assistants would benefit all parties involved, especially professors and the students, in order to get better LORs. It's seen, especially considering the fact that being a TA for a professor is considered a position of great responsibility and honor. And these students are specifically selected by the professors. They help the professors. The professor interns helps them, and they build a really good relationship. It also encourages senior junior bonding and professor student bonding, obviously. So that is regarding the UGTA model. I'm sure most of you would have read about it. Apart from that, we also spoke about internship and placement allowances for peak times, peak seasons during the year, where there's a lot of burden on the students regarding, and pressure to sit for placements, to bag internships. And at that point, we want to ease the burden a bit. So the final plan that we spoke about was the NITT Pay app. And in this, we majorly spoke about integrating all payments and a revolutionary mess system, allowing you to choose your meals on a meal-wise basis, right? So we want to basically give students the option to choose their meals, on a meal-wise basis. So they can pre-book, and that would give the mess an indication of the number of students that would be attending, accordingly prepare food. And they would have to scan a QR code, which would automatically transfer the payments. So the system that we've proposed is, suppose that you have 400 rupees as a minimum spending limit. Let us consider 100 rupees per day, right? For a week's cycle, that would amount to 700 rupees. For the week, let us suppose the minimum spending amount is about 400 rupees. So any amount below 400, if the student spends below 400, then an additional amount would be sent from his account to the admin account. And apart from that, if he decides to spend more than 400, which practically means that he ate more during the week, that amount would go to the caterers. So this system allows that a student can have a maximum amount of savings of 300 rupees, which is 700 minus the minimum spending amount, in case he decides to only eat for 400 rupees. And at the same time, we can also give guarantees to the mess caterers, who usually ask for a guarantee in terms of money. So we can provide that to them based on the 400 rupee limit. So this system will also integrate things like your dues and your refunds and reimbursements, right? It will also include membership system for gyms and swimming pools. It'll be integrated into the app so that there is a better tracking as well as to when you've registered, when you can use the facilities mentioned. And yes, I would love to hear your questions. So one of the major issues that I heard was also about, regarding the questions that I had, was also about the fact that I've mentioned a lot of work and a lot of things in my manifesto. So some of you wanted to know how I would be managing all of them, how I would achieve all of them. So in that case, I wanted to say that there's a management philosophy which says that you can't solve a problem until you measure it. And that basically means that you need to have an idea of the problems that are existing in campus, so that you can actually take a step forward to resolve them. it was very important for us to list down all the issues that were existed in campus and in our college in order to take efforts to solve them. So regarding this, we will be releasing six more, and we've already released six to improve the general life. And I just wanted to say that I'm not alone in this. It's a collective effort, and I will obviously take up the initiative, drive it from my side, showing complete responsibility. But with that, I will have the support of all the councils. I will have the support of all the administration and the members of the college. So some people frequently ask me a question saying that you've spoken and you've mentioned testimonials in your manifesto and whatever's been released so far. Uh, what assurances have they given you? So regarding that, I would say that I've spoken to the respective people that I've mentioned in my manifesto, and I've proposed to them my plan. They've loved my plans, and based on which I've asked them for permission whether I can mention their name, to which they've also agreed. So there is a positive sentiment to whomever I've mentioned the plans, and definitely working collectively, we can achieve our plans. So that is from my side. Any questions that you guys have, I would be willing to take them. Especially, there were a lot of questions and doubts regarding certain plans which I've proposed. So I would love to answer them over here. So we have a couple of plans that are coming up as well. One of the KYCs that I did and I spoke about was regarding the change of water dispensers, regarding which I spoke to the water department as well, and sir said that it is imperative that we change all the water dispensers in our campus because they have almost reached their expiry limit. Speaking to the ex-council members, they also said that it is time we take this initiative. When they try to take it in their respective years, there was an issue that the dispensers were in good conditions. So it's time we can definitely take that initiative as well. And that is something that I'll be driving from my side. Yes. So there's a question saying that what is the admin say on bringing students back to college in the beginning of next sem? So regarding that, I've spoken to the members that I mentioned. Right, we spoke to Mr. Suresh Sivan sir, who is the hostel convener, and he was shocked by the level of planning that we had presented to him. So he was like, this can definitely be done. But keeping in mind the situation, we have put a realistic timeline of July to bring back the students. We are continuously monitoring and evaluating the situation. And if things go well, we would definitely be able to bring back students in July. Can you explain the NITT Pay app a little bit more? Sure. So if you've gone through our video walkthrough, that app had a couple of screens, right? And those screens majorly spoke about 4 or 5 major features. One of them was the mess system. And mess system, which I've already explained to you guys, that is something that we will be looking at. The second thing would be refunds and dues. So suppose that you go to a printing shop and you've paid them, you've used the service, used the facility, and you've you don't pay them. That gets added to your dues at the end of the 4 years of college or 5 years of college, right? At the end of college. So the problem with that is a couple of students have a don't know, they can't track their dues, right? It comes out as a shock to them at the end of college regarding how much they have to pay. So a dues tracker is something very simple that can be integrated into an app, and something which nobody thought about, right? So that is one aspect of things that we'll be focusing on. Other than that, there is also the question of having uh, the membership option integrated into the app, right? Allowing you to track your memberships better. We also have stuff like, apart from that, you would be able to transfer money from any NITT Pay account to any other NITT Pay account. So that is definitely something about the app. Yes, and obviously, if you want to recharge your app, you would be able to do that through normal UPI. Can you please tell us about your experiences that are behind you, which make you a better candidate? Um, I can tell you the experiences which I've looked forward to and which have led me up to this point. So basically, since my first year, um, there was a genuine motivation to stand for the student council president, for which I took responsibilities accordingly. I was part of a fest team where I managed a lot of work, handled my responsibilities well, learned to make calls to official authorities, to companies, right? And most of my soft skills and my basic skills were developed while I was a part of the team. I was a part of the I was part of a sports team as well, and what that helped me is experience a sports person's life in our college when he or she when they go to a tournament, right? And the issues that they face, or the general campus image that we can present when we go for a tournament outside our campus. So that gave me that experience. And apart from that, I've always been a firm believer of change, right? Not only change regarding mental health support and sensitive issues, LGBTQ representation, and women empowerment. So, regarding those issues, we started Hope NIT Trichy. That's a personal initiative that I started with my team, and we are delighted by the response the college has shown to us. And we also started Kryptonite, which is a blockchain community, open for all blockchain community, to sensitize the people and the students and make them more familiar with the concepts of blockchain. So those are some of them. I've been volunteering. I've been volunteering to educate young children. That is something that is part of my social welfare approach, right? And I've always been motivated to create a change, improve the things around me, and I think that's what makes me the candidate that I am. Yes. So the question by Kaushik is, could you give us a breakdown of how online classes will work considering the situation and when? So as I said, that there would be an attempt to bring back the students in July, starting from July. Apart from that, how online classes will work. Online classes will continue to function. I'm sorry, offline classes. Okay, okay. Sorry, I got that question wrong. So offline classes, there is no immediate need to structure offline classes. That is a topic that would be looked at based on the reports that arrive after students have come back to college. They would continue online until the situation moves towards normalcy. In which case, we would obviously take initiatives like staggered seating, right? To ensure proper, we would also ensure proper sanitation, proper cleaning of classrooms. And this is something that professors would also be have to come to classes, and there's a risk involved over there. So classes will continue to function online until we decide to bring a change to that system. So Vijitendra has asked the question: who will build and monitor the NITT Pay app? Technicality-wise, paranoid about its working and misuse. Yes. So the NITT Pay app would be primarily built by our computer support group, right? All functions which involve the issues of security would be handled by them, right? And in any case, the students would not be allowed to work on the backend part of the app because that involves certain risks. So the computer support group, which is an independent body in our college, they would work on this, and techni- um, obviously it would be done with all security measures. Regarding the front end and making the app simple to use, improving the UI and the UX experience, I feel that our technical clubs are more than equipped to develop this app. So, Anaga, so the mess fees that we pay goes into our NITT Pay app account, and we pay for the meals that we eat, and the excess is given back to us. Yes, precisely. So, any excess that you have from the 700 amount um, after you've paid for the week goes back to your account, and you can use it for any general spending inside NITT. Can you elaborate more on the UGTA program? Yes, definitely. So the inspiration to start a UGTA program came from IIT Bombay, and I was genuinely curious about how the system works. So I approached the council, and I learned that UGTAs is a position of great, immense respect. And if students mention it on their portfolios, on their resumes, it is seen as a position of great honor and respect. It has value. So this is something that I wanted to introduce, and considering several factors as well over here. One is that, especially if you've seen the online situation, most of your PhD and your MTech scholars are handling the class, right? The technicality of the class, the technical aspects of the class, the scholars have to handle. So it's a lot of pressure on them. Um, Also, they have to focus a lot on their thesis. So there's another aspect to the UGTA program which deals with the burden, right, of both the professors and the scholars. Now, coming to the benefits that a UGTA has when he becomes a teaching assistant. So the benefits are that there is a very close interaction with the professor, right? The professor handpicks the student. And what this allows is that the student can get letters of recommendations, get projects, right? He can work very closely with the professor. So at the same time, a UGTA, he would also be teaching his junior batches, right? So that will create more senior junior bonding as well. Plus, apart from the burden fact, there's not a lot that a UGTA needs to like. He needs to be good in his subject. He needs to definitely be good in his subject, but the level of preparation required for a UGTA to become a UGTA is not a lot, but it's a position that brings you immense benefits, right, to all the parties involved, because a professor can't necessarily answer the doubts that 50 plus or 100 plus students have in class, right, when it comes to minors and other classes. So a UGTA is definitely UGTAs would definitely improve that situation. So based on how the UGTAs are selected, the professor, the system in IIT Bombay, how it works is they are selected on the basis of an interview, certain prerequisites like course requirements, which the professor lists down, and also his academic and overall behavior and pattern performance. So that is something definitely that would exist. And one of the major benefits is that these UGTAs also receive compensation for their services, and that can benefit a lot of people to even take care of like basic dues that they have to pay during their college life. Yes. So could you, Lakshmikant has said, could you explain your LOS idea and how it will help us students in general? Yeah. So this idea stems from a discussion that I had with a lot of students regarding the entrepreneurship culture in our college. The issue was that there's not enough support available for students who want to take up startups, right? This is something very time intensive, and there's not enough support available for them. So that is when I decided to approach eCell, and I decided to approach SETI regarding it. And what they told me is this should definitely be done. So the LOS idea was stemmed from that fact. What it does is basically, let us suppose there's a student who has a startup. He will directly be tracked by a faculty member, right? He has to directly report to a faculty member. Based on a very good performance, a regular updates, and a very good performance, he is awarded the license of startup. Now there are several incentives of receiving this license. So one of the major incentives is that you will now have 50% academic attendance criteria, right? So attendance criteria would be eased down. That is something very important. Apart from that, you would also be able to access facilities, mentorship from both members of SEDI, from members of ECEL, and use their resources. So that could help a startup a lot, right? Apart from the basic mentorship and any help that a capitalist provides, they will also train the startup and the students and help them throughout the journey. So another benefit that they can avail, that suppose they're holding the LOS for a, let us suppose, some time period, and they will be eligible for a deferred placement criteria. Now what that does is you can postpone your placement by a year. You can pursue your startup for another additional year, right? And in case things don't work out, there'll be a fallback system. There'll be a support system for you where you can come back and attend the placements inside college. So this would massively benefit the students of our college. And yeah, I guess that answers your question. Yes. So there's a question. If back to campus works and we are in the campus by July/August, what extent of freedom restrictions are possible? Yes, that's a very good question. And I would say that as far as the initial quarantine periods are concerned, before all the students are back to campus, there will be restrictions ensuring that you are safe in the campus. So whatever we can do to ensure your safety within the campus will be done, right? Apart from that, there would not be significant restrictions when normalcy returns. It would be a normal campus life and you will be able to enjoy your 1 year. So I guess that is the extent of freedom restrictions which you're asking about. The paying for the mess system is only for the Marvel mess, right, and not normal other messes. Yes, you're not aware of them, but you do pay a mess component in your hostel fees, and basically every month you renew your mess membership if you're attending the MM1 or MM2 messes, or even the Opal messes. So you have to register for them on a month-wise basis. So you are paying for them. Can you talk more about nurturing entrepreneurship? I guess my LOS concept explains that fact that we were introducing. Apart from that, SEDI and ECEL, there's a certain structural change that we're trying to bring about that would help the students a lot. So I guess that's about nurturing entrepreneurship. And how willing will the admin be to implement the nurturing entrepreneurship plan? Yes. So based on my conversations, you would be surprised to know that the respective people that I spoke to, before I could mention the topic of deferred placements, it came from their side. So I was equally surprised, and definitely this is something that would require a push, and we will push this as well. The admin will implement this plan if they find the benefit in the plan, and if it brings the college an equal amount of in pride and college some benefit. So obviously when our students start up and they become successful in life, they have a successful startup, that is a moment of great pride for the college, and definitely the admin would be willing to implement this plan. Yeah, that's a very good question. So, is the deferred placements guaranteed? So, deferred placements is a system that allows you to have a support system, right? So, deferred placement, obviously, it would reflect on your portfolio or your resume that you have taken a year to focus more on a startup, right? So, not, I could say that companies would look at it when they shortlist you, right? So that is that. And apart from that, there'll be a very specific number of students that would be opting for this criteria, right? Not everybody would be inclined to go for the deferred placement option. So it's not guaranteed, but yes, it is definitely a mechanism in place to help you out. So, yeah, can you talk more about the community? Yeah, so Anaga has said, can you talk more about the community center? Yes. So, based on my discussions with multiple people in our college, there is something that is very prominent in colleges, um, like in India or also abroad. So that is something like a community center. So what it basically means, to explain it to you better, um, it's an expanded version of our college CCD. Right, so it's a expanded cafe, so people can sit, people can interact, have business meetings over there. There'll be food available. You can interact, work on your projects with your friends. So everything would be available over there, and that would be one place where everybody goes to, everybody sits down and interacts. So apart from the fact, there's another added advantage that the plan community center plan brings, and that is that there is a lack of rooms to offer to clubs in our campus. And we cannot accommodate all clubs because there are multiple clubs, and we can't accommodate all of them. We don't have enough rooms. So for that, this community center would definitely help. We are looking at the existing infrastructure as well. So we're looking at LHC, we're looking at GJCH, and we're figuring out where we can establish this community center. So in the case where we're going with the lecture hall complex, obviously restrictions after class hours will be eased, right? And that could offer a very conducive space for everybody to sit down, interact, right? So that is about the community center. It would benefit everybody. So I guess that brings us to the end of it. And thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for asking me these questions. Hopefully that clears a lot of questions that you guys had in your minds. Okay, one final question. It's from Bhavesh. What assurances that admin sticks to the back to college plan and does not back out? Because looking at the so-called testimonies from other candidate plans, it looks the other way around. Yeah. So assurances can be given if a plan is properly put in place and it's a foolproof plan. What we have proposed to do is something which uses minimal resources, guarantees maximum safety, and ensures that nobody is infected by the time normalcy is restored in the campus. So it is definitely something that can be used to convince the administration. I've sent it to the hostel convener as well. He has promised me that he would be forwarding it to the director as well. So obviously I can take a decision on this when I am elected. But apart from that, I will push it from my side. I will drive it from my side and ensure that the admin sticks to the plan. And yes, talking about certain important factors that were missing, or that could definitely be implemented, is the hospital tie-ups, right? So we've spoken to Apollo Trichy personally. I've reached out to them. We've received a quote for medical workers, 15 to 20 medical workers that will be present on campus for the quarantine duration, right? We have spoken to them about mask dispensers. We have spoken to them about sanitation machines, right? We have also spoken to them about vaccinating faculty, students, workers, all of them. So, and you would be surprised to know that they called me, they reached out to me and said that we can set up the camp inside your college to vaccinate all the workers. And that is something that the admin would definitely agree to, because it's an important aspect of achieving safety for all, not only students, for the people inside college, whether it be in the staff quarters, whether it be professors, right? So such a plan the admin will definitely agree to, and I will drive it from my side as well. So yes, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure talking to you all. You can ask me questions, reach out to me on my number as well, and you can reach out to me through my Instagram handle as well if you have any questions. And stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you so much.